Good morning, everybody. It's Wild Bill. It's January 9th or 10th, something like that. I don't know what it is, but it's cold out. It's just snowed last night. It's still snowing a little bit this morning. It's very cold, windy. So I figured, what a good day to do this. So I've been wanting to do it all year, but I just never have to get around to it. So then I'm going to do it. So I'm going to show you how I set up my poles. This is just the way I do it. There's a million ways you can do it. Everybody does basically the same thing, but they use the little different things they do to them, deviants or dariants or so, I don't know what they're called. But anyway, let's start with the poles. Watch my videos, I use these poles. These are Predator poles. Cabela's Predator. They quit making them about 2012, so you can't get them, but they're still available. In fact, I'm going to be selling a couple this year. As soon as the weather breaks, I got about 5 I'm going to be selling. They make a 1 3/4, which is this one, which is the bait caster. And make a little thicker one, which is called a 2 1/4. It's a spinning rod. They're both 11 foot. It's the only size they make them 11 foot. But they're great rods. Very, very lightweight. Very fun rods to use. You see my videos, these things almost bend over double on even a small fish. They're fun rods to use. But you can use whatever you can afford, whatever you want. Here's probably the most popular rod out there. This is a Carnage 2, 10-foot Carnage 2. I had Louis wrap this one in purple for me because I have a purple reel I'm going to put on there and sell it. Brand new purple reel. I'm going to sell it later this year. I don't use it. So, but this is a 10-foot. They make a 10-foot, which is a medium heavy, and they make a 11-foot, which is a heavy rod. 11-foot is really too big. It's really heavy rod for me. But this is a good rod. It's 10-foot. Pen mix for Prevail, the Battalion, the Carnage 2s, and I think I got another one. I'm not sure what they do. I don't get involved, or I don't worry too much about rods, because I got what I want. But anyway, these are probably in the $150 range. The Prevails, the Battalions are probably $80 to the $100 range, maybe $110 right now, because they're like everything else has gone up in price range. But my advice is to get whatever you can afford. You can get a nice rod for $40, $50. One of the great big night sticks, or whatever you want to call them, beef sticks or something. I don't know what they are, but you see a lot of guys use them. They're great big heavy things. And they're pretty cheap rods to get started with. So it's just a matter of preference, wherever you can afford, whatever you like. Then for reels, I use three different kind of reels, I guess. This is my main reel I use on most of my poles. So, C4, Abu Garcia C4. You see it's all beat to hell and back. It's a great reel though. They last forever. All the Abu reels are really durable reels. They last a long time. I think I've replaced the paw on this and a clicker. That's the only thing I've ever done to it. It's really tough reel. I put upgraded handles on it from Louis, but that's a good reel to start out with. They're about I think they're about $150 right now. Maybe even a little more. But there's one below that's called a C3, which is probably the most popular reel out there. It's got 3 bearings in it. This is a C4. It's got 4 bearings in it. Now they got a C4 that's come out with 5 bearings in it, and they're up in price too. But C3s are very common. Very good reels. They last forever. They're not that expensive. And the next step up is a Abu rocket. It's a 6500 Catfish Pro rocket. I've had this ever since I bought it up at Beaver Lake before they closed up there. But this is a very good reel. It's got a little fancier, I guess you might say. It's got maybe better bearings in it, or more bearing. I'm not even sure how many bearings these things got. I don't worry too much about that. These are probably up in the, I think these was $180 when I bought. Now they're 2 1/4, I think, or even more. But make sure whatever reel you get, make sure it's got some kind of a clicker on it. You got to have a clicker. It makes a big difference. And the other reels that everybody's using now, which I'm using too, is the Low Pros. This is a Kuma Komodo 364. They make this. They make a bigger one, so the 471. Very good reel. Smooth, lightweight, very good. Nice loud clickers on them. This has got 7 bearings in it. They got 2 in the handle that really don't make much difference. But they're very good reels. And they make a little cheaper model of this. It's called the Citrix. This has brass gears, steel gears. The Citrix has brass gears. which is no big deal. They're both great. They're about $50 cheaper. So if you want a low pro, don't want to spend this kind of money on it, get you a nice little Citrix. Louis sells them. I think Hamilton Bait, Epic Bait sells them. I don't know who else sells them. Most everybody sells them. Then you're gonna need some line. Now, 90% of the guys are using braid. I don't use braid. I don't see the use for needing. I don't have any need for braid. I don't know why the people do with it, but they do with it. And so I use this right here, Bass Pro Excel. It's about $10, $11, $12 for a roll spool of 300 yards of it. I use 30 pounds for my main line and I use 25 pounds for my leader. So if I get stuck or bragged up, it's going to break off the leader. I won't lose all my floats and sinkers and all that other crap. Hooks. I lose my hook and my leader. That's all I lose if I get hung up on. Bass Pro Excel. I say you can get. My next choice would be a fluorocarbon. I use that for a long time too. But that's kind of expensive too. This one has a lot of stretch on it. Fluorocarbon is between this and braid. It's got some stretch, but not very much. And braid has no stretch on it, which I don't like because I use my Predator rods, and I've seen too many, not Predator rods broken, but 6S's and the new Daiwa M-Cast. I've seen them break with braid on. They tighten it down, that drag too tight, set the hook, it just snaps. That line is very, very tough. You have to use 85-pound line for it to sink properly, or else it won't sink. It'll just float on top of the water, which is not what you want to do. So let's talk about bobber stops. These are what I use 90% of the time. Little bobber stops. They look like little rubber bands you buy in the dollar store. They're this big. I'll show you how to put them on here in a minute. Very good, little black rings. And they got these kind here. These are, you can barely see these. These are what kids use on their braces. They're really, really durable. They're almost unbreakable. You can pull that thing and you can hardly ever break it. It don't break. These black ones will eventually disintegrate and wear out and break. But these will last you. These will last you all summer, unless you do something stupid to them. That's a good one. And then you got these little things you buy them at Bass Pro Shop. They slide on your line. I'm sure you've seen them before. You use them for crappie fish and stuff like that. But anytime you use a slip bobber, this just slips on your line, slide up and down. It works just fine. Just a little bit bigger, like a bigger knot on, I guess, or bigger bubble, I guess. That's about it. So let me show you how I put the rubber bands on. You can see this or not. I take the rubber band like this. I take my line like this. I put this through there like that. Pull it tight. And then do it again. Pull this around, stretch it out, pull it around the line again, and slip it back in that loop you just made. Just do another loop and through there, over the line and back through that loop there, and pull it tight. Pull it real tight. And then take your scissors or knife and just cut it off right there. That thing will last forever on there. It's easy to move too, not real hard to do. That's about the most guys use rubber bands, I think. They're the easiest to replace, so you don't have to tear your. And these you gotta cut your leaders off, cut your hooks off, and slide up on the line, and then put your stuff back on again. These you can just slip on anywhere on the line you want to. You don't have to take all your stuff, undo all your stuff. Okay, see what's next. We're gonna need some. Of course, you know how to use sinkers. That ain't no big deal. I use these little things here in place. You can cut. This is just an air tube. I use these in front of my float, in front of my sinker, on both sides like that. When I'm using sinkers, I put it on there. You can't really see that, but I put a bobber stopper on there, put a sinker, and put another bobber, another what do you call them things? Bumper, I guess you call them, to keep the knot from bouncing against each other. Here you go, just like this. That's how I do it. This is your leader here. This goes down to your hook down here. But this is here, let me just. This goes up to your hook. It just keeps your stuff from banging against each other and beating on that knot. And it'll break that knot down here where it's tied on down here. Right here's the most important part. Right here. If you didn't have this bumper here, this weight would just go in there and keep beating on that knot, and eventually it'll break through. And I put one on the other end just for the heck of it. I don't think I really need it up there because there's a weight there and a weight here. So it's no big deal. But that's what I use for my weights. I'm kind of particular how they set, so I use like a weight, and I usually use maybe even a split shot to get so it sets. So it sets just about perfect for me right there. That's how I wanted to set. Of course, I use Mingay floats. I've been using these for a long time. This float here is probably 4 years old, maybe 5 years old. It's a 10-inch float. It's made out of cedar, so it doesn't absorb water like the balsa floats do. They're great, great, great floats. He can get them customized for you, however you want you to do. He's making a skinny top now too, like this, with the old WBC floats. But here again, you can do whatever you want to on floats. You can get these old little Joe floats, whatever the hell you want to call them. But you're eventually going to see how they chip and break. That's going to absorb water, and you're going to have to tape it up. Oh, we got one taped up somewhere around here or not? Probably not. Whatever. But anyway, this is what I use. Mingay floats. It's the only floats I ever use. Then if you're not using a float or a straw, you want to put one of these little, they call them strike indicators on them. I don't know what they don't indicate no strike unless they go underwater. So that's what most guys use. I just use them so they can see them better, or know if there are floats on the bottom. But I use that. Then I use my straws or tattletales or cheaters, whatever you want to call them. But if you're using live bait, this is pretty essential, because if you're using a live bait, your live bait's going to be down here swimming around, and this line's going to lay down here in a second. This bait's going to swim around this line, and eventually get you tangled up with your hook, like a shad will do. But if you got this on there, it'll keep your line from sinking straight down. It'll sink, but it'll sink way over here somewhere. However long your straw is, it'll sink over here instead of down here. It'll pull it out here, then it'll sink, hopefully. Then you get live baits swimming around down here and not bother anything. But sometimes even that'll not help. It'll still get tangled up. But this is a lot better. This is just for live bait fishing. If you're using just dead bait, that's all you need is this part right here. That's all you need. So you need a weight, leader. I'll show you. My leaders are just like I say, 25-pound test leader. You can make it as long as you want to. Some guys make them like 2-3 foot long. I usually make it about as long as my bobber is. I got a 10-inch bobber. I use it just about that much, so it don't get wrapped around there when I cast it. But sometimes it does anyway. But you can use it however you want to use your leader. However long you want to make it, up to you. I've used these hooks for like the last 2 years. I can't find nothing better than these. Bass Pro Shop sells them. They're like $14 for 100 of them, so they're real cheap hooks, and they're really good. They're kind of odd shaped. I'll show you in a minute here, but that's it. Bass Pro Shop sells them. They're very good hooks. Here, I'll show you what they look like. They're kind of like a kale hook, I guess, or they're just really weird looking hooks, but they're offset a little bit. You can't see that, but their hook's bent that way a little bit, so when it pulls it right in the fish's mouth. It's really good, really good hook. I use a regular twisted under swivel, ball bearing swivel, or whatever's available. I'm not too choosy about that either. I'm not no pro fisher. I just video fish, just to make videos. But I forgot anything yet. Or you gotta have a little bead up here. You always know about the little bead. You gotta have a little bead. If I use my straw, it's got a pretty big hole in it. Oops. It's got a pretty big hole in it. So that little bumper, that little rubber band will go down through there. So you have to use a bead. So I use real little beads, because this little bead would go down through there too. So I have to put this bead and then a bigger bead. If I left the red bead out, this silver bead would go down in there. It wouldn't do any good. So I could put that bead on there, but I can't use this bead by itself, because then my bobber stop will go through here, because it's so small to go through there sometimes. So I just use 2 beads like that. That's my setup right there. So you can make this as long as you want to. I use everything. Of course, I use everything yellow so you can see it on the videos better. I don't know what else I can tell you about it. It's pretty simple. It's not rocket science. So that's about it, guys. That's what I use. If you got any questions or need any help or something, let me know. I'll be glad to help you out. Thanks for watching. It's going to be a good year this year, hopefully. We'll start out here. I guess the first video I got coming up is going to be Lake Butler's tournament on opening day, so that'll probably be on April sometime, I imagine, the way this weather is, but you never can tell. Whenever it is, I'll be there. I got a lot of videos coming up for spring water this year. So they got like 4 every year, not a bunch, but they have 4 or 5 regular ones. And I got a bunch coming up from windmills. Corey's got a bunch on the schedule this year. A couple on the holiday weekends, Memorial Day, Labor Day, July 4th. So that should be interesting. He's going to stock a bunch of fish this year. Of course, Butler's always got tournaments going on. I'll be over there a lot this year. They got new owners over there, and they're doing a lot of good stuff over there. Brandon's really putting a bunch of fish in. Big fish, too. They're really making out like a really good trophy lake. And then I'll talk to John Pruitt about doing some videos for him over there this year, Triangle Lakes. Never had the chance to go over there yet, but I'm going to try this year. He's got a lot of big fish coming in too this year, so we'll see what that's going to be like. Otherwise, I'll be on my own out there windmilling in the Little Lake, spring water in Butler. I get a lot of guys always ask me how deep you fish and what bait you using. I can't hardly answer that honestly, because it changes every day and every hour sometimes. My best advice to you guys is to bring my go-to baits: warmouth, mullet, goldfish. You bring them 3 baits, you'll catch fish. You'll catch fish. And shad, if you want to use shad. I don't like using shad, but they have a time and a purpose. They'll catch you a bunch of fish. And at certain times of the year, you want to use yellow bellies and koi and chicken and beef and whatever else other baits they got out there. I don't even know what they are. Israelis are really good too. So that's what if people ask me what bait, I don't know. I can't tell you what bait. They might be biting something today, come back tomorrow, they might not be any biting on that same bait. My advice is bring as many different baits as you can, and something they'll buy on one of them baits. As far as depth goes, that changes too. I can be on one part of the lake and fish a certain depth, and go to the other part of the lake and fish that same depth, you won't get a bite. And I go shallower or deeper, you get a bite. So my best advice there is to go start at the bottom, put your flow on the bottom, and raise it up like 6 inches at a time until you find where they're at, and just keep doing that. Or start at the top and keep lowering it down. But every lake is not the same depth clear across the lake. There's humps, there's holes, there's ridges, there's all kinds of stuff involved in that. So you don't want to just say one depth and one bait. So if you guys want to learn, you can't listen to me what I tell you, because you got to find out on your own. I got to find out when I go there. My best advice is to go there and ask the guy in the bait shop. Ask Callan, or ask John Fink over at Butler, or I say Callan at Windmill, or Lisa or Mark up at Springwater. They'll be glad to tell you what they're biting on. But it's always the same thing. It's it just changes so often. I can't tell you. I can't tell you the bait. I can't tell you the depth. You got to find out for your own. Some things on your own, guys. But anyway, good luck. Hope to see you guys all out there. If you see me out there, come over and say hi to me. I'll be glad to talk to you. Get some video for you. So till you see me again, thanks for watching.